What if I told you the story of a man who began life on the quiet streets of Lahore? A man who would go on to lift the Cricket World Cup in front of millions, build a hospital that saved countless lives, and stand tall through the fiercest storms in political life. This is not just the biography of Imran Khan. It's the blueprint of resilience, leadership, and hope. A journey that shows us that no matter where you start, you can change the world if you refuse to give up. If you've ever faced doubt, loss, or failure, stay with me, because the story you're about to hear may be the spark you need to rise again. The city of Lahore in the autumn of 1952 was alive with bicycle bells, street vendors calling out their goods, and the warm scent of chai drifting through the air. In a modest but respected home, Imran Ahmed Khan Niazi entered the world. His father, Ikramullah Khan Niazi, was a civil engineer, a man of precision, structure, and discipline. His mother, Shaukat Khanum, carried compassion, grace, and strength, the kind of woman who believed privilege should never dull one's sense of duty. Imran grew up surrounded by four sisters, learning early the value of listening, protecting, and carrying responsibility. School began at Aitchison College, then Cathedral School, where tradition and discipline shaped him. Later, at the Royal Grammar School in Worcester, England, he learned to balance academics with sport, moving between Lahore's culture and England's modernity without losing his own identity. At Oxford's Keble College, he studied philosophy, politics, and economics. The classroom sharpened his mind, but it was on the cricket pitch that his real lessons in leadership, resilience, and survival began. Life's toughest lesson, though, came not from cricket. It came from watching his mother battle cancer at a time when Pakistan had almost no facilities for treatment. That loss carved a wound in his heart that would later transform into a national mission. Cricket was his training ground for life. At 16, he made his first-class debut for Lahore. By 18, he played his first test for Pakistan against England at Edgbaston in 1971. It wasn't spectacular, but it was the first step. In county cricket with Worcestershire, he learned the craft of swing bowling, discipline, and mental toughness. In the late 70s, he rebuilt himself, adding pace, mastering reverse swing, and becoming one of the most feared all-rounders in the world. In 1982, he became captain of Pakistan's national team. He inherited talent, but also division, egos, and inconsistency. He didn't lead with speeches. He led by example, training harder than anyone, playing through injuries, and showing what discipline really looked like. There were lighter moments too. At a charity match in Australia, he once won a luxury car. Teased endlessly, he showed up next game wearing a shirt that read, "I'm sorry I won the car." The crowd loved it. Later, he sold the car to raise funds for a dream that had taken root in his heart, a cancer hospital in his mother's memory. The defining moment came in the 1992 Cricket World Cup. Pakistan started badly. Losses piled up. Critics wrote them off. Then came the pep talk that became legendary. Play like cornered tigers. Match by match, the team clawed its way back. And then, the final. March 25th, 1992, Melbourne. In front of a roaring crowd, Pakistan defeated England. Imran, in his iconic tiger shirt, scored 249 runs and lifted the trophy. For the first time, Pakistan were world champions. And he dedicated the victory not to himself, but to his dream project, a hospital that would treat cancer patients no matter their wealth. From tragedy grew one of Pakistan's greatest philanthropic achievements. When Imran began fundraising for Shaukat Khanum Memorial Cancer Hospital, people told him it was impossible. Without government backing, how could a sportsman build a hospital? But he refused to quit. From glittering halls abroad to dusty bazaars in small towns, he asked for donations. He hosted telethons. He played charity matches. In one stunt, he even rode a camel through city streets, making people laugh and donate. At a dinner abroad, a guest once joked, "If I donate enough, will I at least get your World Cup bat?" Imran smiled. "If you donate enough, I'll throw in the shirt I wore in the '92 final, but I warn you, it's still unwashed." The check was signed that night. In 1994, the hospital opened its doors in Lahore. Today, it treats thousands, with over 75% of patients free of charge. It became proof that grief, when turned into action, can save lives. For many, lifting the World Cup and building a hospital would have been the final chapter. But for Imran Khan, it was just the end of one innings. A new one was about to begin. Politics. The transition was not glamorous. Founding a political party in 1996 was like setting up a cricket net in the middle of a storm. Resources were scarce, crowds were thin. The man who once commanded stadiums now spoke to a few dozen in half-empty parks. But cricket had taught him patience. Test matches are not won in one over. And so he endured loss after loss, election after election, with little to show. Critics mocked him, friends told him to quit. Instead, he treated each defeat as practice, sharpening his message, toughening his resolve. Once, at a rally, the sound system collapsed. The restless crowd murmured. Imran picked up a child, held him like a cricket ball, and said, "Looks like you'll have to bowl the rest of my speech." The crowd burst into laughter. Years turned into decades, but slowly, change came. Young voters who never saw 1992 began to see him not as a sportsman, but as a leader who had proven he could achieve the impossible. Social media became his new stadium. Crowds grew larger. The voice once echoing in empty grounds began to fill entire public squares. And finally, after more than 2 decades, the tide turned. He became Prime Minister of Pakistan. But leading a nation was nothing like captaining a cricket team. Every decision was slower, layered with process, opposition, and compromise. Yet he threw himself in. Welfare programs expanded to protect the poor. Healthcare initiatives grew. Education reforms pushed into rural areas. And in a move that surprised many, he launched massive tree planting drives, making the environment a national priority. Not every day was victory. Critics circled constantly. Budgets demanded sacrifice. Meetings stretched late into the night. Yet even in stress, humor surfaced. During one tense budget discussion, a colleague spilled water on papers. Imran glanced at the puddle and said, "Well, at least one department is overflowing." The room laughed. The meeting continued. But politics has storms. Losing office was not gradual, it was sudden, noisy, public. For some it was celebration, for others heartbreak. For him, it was another sharp turn in a long match. Once again the choice, walk away or keep playing. He chose to stay. He returned to rallies, speeches, and marches. Crowds gathered in massive numbers, proving that while power can be taken, trust, once earned, endures. But storms grew fiercer. Legal battles, media scrutiny, and physical danger followed. At one rally, an attack left him injured. Recovery was slow, but when he reappeared, bandaged, smiling, speaking, his presence said more than words. The body might bruise, but the spirit does not break. And then came the toughest chapter, confinement. Walls, silence, isolation. It could have ended his influence. Instead, it became another test of endurance. Brief messages filtered through family and lawyers. Reminders of patience, unity, hope. Supporters held vigils, marches, and rallies. His absence made his presence larger. A visitor once recalled a small moment. A guard apologized for cold tea. Imran smiled. "Cold tea is fine. I'm just glad it's not a bouncer." Even in isolation, humor lived. From Lahore streets to the Melbourne roar, from empty rallies to the highest office, from celebrations to prison walls, Imran Khan's story is not a straight line. It is peaks and valleys, triumphs and trials. What ties it together is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to stop. The boy who once faced the world's fastest bowlers learned to face political storms with the same calm. The man who turned his mother's death into a hospital refused to let setbacks silence his vision. It's not about agreeing with every decision he made. It's about recognizing the resilience it takes to keep getting back up when the ground keeps shifting beneath you. And that is why his story inspires millions, not just in Pakistan, but across the world. Because you don't need to be a cricketer or a politician or a world leader to learn from it. Maybe you're a student facing endless exams, a worker fighting for your family, an entrepreneur keeping your dream alive. Somewhere in your life, there's a pitch you're standing on right now. The crowd may not be watching, the cameras may not be rolling, but the choice is the same. Defend, attack, or walk away. And maybe, just maybe, the courage to keep playing, to face the ball, is exactly what you need. As Imran once joked, life is like cricket. You can't score if you don't face the ball. And sometimes you just have to laugh at the bouncers. So here's my question to you. What challenge have you been avoiding because it's too hard, too long, or too uncertain? Step into it. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. Hope isn't something you wait to receive. It's something you choose to carry. And courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. If this story inspired you, share it. Somewhere, someone you know is standing on their own pitch, unsure if they can keep going. Give them this spark. And if you're ready for more stories of resilience, hope, and leadership, subscribe. Because the next story we tell might just be the one that changes your life.